All right. So this is what my parents didn't know, and today's going to be maybe a little different. I say that sometimes, and I think that for today, I'm in a weird, not weird, but I'm in a stressful situation, and I have a friend of mine, and he said to me not too long ago, he was talking to his fiance, and he says, "Don't you know we're in the presence of a God?" Uh, and his fiance said, "What do you mean?" And he pointed to me and he says, "That's Atlas." And if you don't know, Atlas is the god that holds the world on his shoulders. And I'm very much that kind of person. And I most honestly, like, I don't mind it. I don't mind carrying shit for people. Um, but in this case, it's a little more than I am able to simply process. That compartmentalization that we talked about, that's a little bit more difficult right now in this moment. And this moment's been going on for a couple of hours now, where I have not had the peace of mind that I can have peace in my mind. And so I figured, this might be a pretty good opportunity to share like how I handle that, which isn't necessarily like a fucking champ or anything, but it is, you know, it is human that you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to have difficulty processing, which is why we've done several videos on it. Because I have a lot of kids, and they all have different processes that they use, and I have a lot of friends, and they all have different processes that they use. So I am constantly reminded that people have overwhelmed minds, and I am also one of those people. There's people who are super carefree, and they don't think too deep on things that can cause them a negative emotion. And I envy that, but I am not that way. I am a deep thinker. I am very cerebral. I just am. But at the same time, I'm super creative, so it's kind of like a balance in my world. So, what is on my mind that's keeping me where I'm at? So, a couple of things. Uh, One, like I said before, I have a lot of kids, and one of those kids was recently diagnosed with a couple of things, and to be honest with you, I was super relieved, and it created an opportunity to co-parent that I honestly have absolutely no idea if that will happen. Co-parenting is not something that I am experiencing, and my kids really aren't either. So I'm pretty hands-on without being, overbearing or whatever. And when the diagnosis came, the I was asked to talk to my daughter about it, because my daughter loves talking to me, and despite her diagnosis, she's able to focus pretty good when I'm talking to her. Um, so I did, and I sat down with her and I talked with her about it. And one of the things that I talked to her about was that when she is, well, she had this teacher, and this teacher was a fucking dick to her, and basically, she wasn't paying attention according to the teacher, but in actuality, she was just looking elsewhere and fidgeting, but she heard everything that was being said. Apparently, that is a part of the diagnosis. and and so I told her that it was okay, and I fucked up. There was times I says to her, it was kind of funny. I says to her, you can when I'm talking to you, I'm going to, if you're not looking at me, I'm going to check in with you to make sure that you're hearing what I'm saying. So I will ask you to repeat stuff back to me. But what I ended up doing, because it was so new to me, what I ended up doing was I kept on saying, all right, please look at me. Please look at me, which is the opposite of what I told her to do, or well, the opposite of what I talked to her about. Like, you focus better when you're not looking, so I'm not gonna do that. I didn't say this, but I was inadvertently like defying myself, and I did it like a bunch of times, and I kept apologizing, like, I'm sorry, I forgot, I'm sorry, I gotta get used to it, please. And my kid was just like, nah, it's okay, Dad, it's okay. I'm like, all right, cool, yo. So, um, so anyways, she was heavily, heavily criticized for this the other day, for not paying attention and not looking at somebody that was trying to talk with her. And my daughter heard everything, but she wasn't looking, and she was criticized for that, and she was called disrespectful for that, and then she called me up, and she was crying, and she was afraid, and part of the diagnosis really emphasized a low self-esteem. And so I don't just hear, that she was criticized. I hear that she was scared. I hear that it validates the low self-esteem that she already is battling. And I don't get her for a couple of days. So the last couple of hours, I've been sitting down thinking about what I can do. And most people, if you were to talk to a therapist or whatever, they would like encourage you to process it out of your mind, because there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it right now. And I try to tell myself that. And I think to myself, yeah, but I could be prepared. I could be ready. And if I'm ready, then then I'm gonna be a better dad when I get her back. I am concerned that it's going to happen again. I am concerned that it's going to happen more, where somebody is frustrated with her, calling her disrespectful and all that other stuff. And I have to be patient about it. I can't be frog stomping motherfuckers. I have to be patient about it. And this is the product of understanding quality, or power and control. Understanding power and control is saying, okay, you're experiencing that adrenaline that comes with being a protective parent, and there's nothing wrong with being a protective parent. It's overprotection, helicopter parenting. That's where the issue comes in. But this gives me an adrenaline hit, and when adrenaline hits, you need to move your hands and shit. You need to express it with something physical. So I took a walk. I took a decent walk. I did a bunch of push-ups. I did some burpees and shit. I did the physical stuff to address the adrenaline boost, and I feel like the adrenaline part has gone, but just like any high, there's a low, and so now that all that adrenaline is calmed down, now I'm pondering, and sometimes pondering is fucking dope, man. I love thinking deep on something I find interesting. Like I'd said in one of the previous videos, I am a Bible guy. So like I love to study the original language to understand what the really what the Greek has to say about the the English translation. And compare those and put together what I believe the Bible is trying to say. To me, that's whatever. It's fun. Drinking at a bar is fun, but also studying shit that intrigues you is fun. And for me, that's part of my fun. So I did try to do that and give my mind something else to focus on that I enjoy, but I wasn't able to focus. Big Bang Theory helped a little bit. I watched Big Bang Theory for a couple of episodes, and I laughed a little bit, but I wasn't free from the stuff that was lingering in my mind that was not going away. So venting is another tool that actually is the most effective tool for me is to share what's on my mind. And I have a few people that I can turn to when that happens. Or I should say, tonight, I don't really have that person. If I wanted to call one of the 800 numbers or whatever, I could talk. I could talk it out there. But I don't. I'd prefer not to. I prefer to figure out how to do it on my own. So then I've been watching reaction videos where these kids are listening to like Phil Collins for the first time or Eminem for the first time. I haven't watched the Tupac ones because I have watched the Tupac ones, but they're never first time reactions. It's always, I know this song, I know this song. Tupac's my favorite rapper, so whenever I can, I focus on or I listen to Tupac. But I also do so one of these reaction videos I was watching was NF, and I have one different daughter that is. She communicates how she feels. She has a hard time finding her words, so she communicates how she feels when she uses those songs. So she'll text me. Whatever, and she'll say, check this song out, check that song out, and we've had this really really fucking cool way of communicating. Like 16-year-old me is like loving my daughter right now because I'm able to send her songs that I loved growing up, that really spoke to me, and she shares the songs that really speak to her. And so we started watching these reaction videos to see people responding for the first time to these songs that we love. And there was one I was watching some of them, and I love watching huge rap fans listen to country music. I'm not a huge country music fan anymore, but I used to be, and I still love the songs that I loved. And I had a friend share with me a song by a guy named Chris Stapleton called Fire Away. And it's a deep, hits home motherfucker of a song. And the way that I hear it, it's basically someone who's saying, I know you're going to be cruel to me. Fire away. And something kind of deep, kind of heavy hit me, and it was that the two people that did a lot of damage to me, to my mind, were my parents. And I have one parent that was all manners of abusive, and that person chooses to say that they have no memory of the abuse. And frankly, if I didn't have brothers and sisters, I may have gotten gaslit by that. And then the other parent was not overtly abusive. They just weren't there. And that has never been addressed. There was one time where they saw me with my brother and sisters, and it was pretty fucking amazing, because the next day I got a call from that parent, which I had never, I don't recall getting a call from that person in 8 years at that point. And in that call they said, I'm sorry. They said, thank you for raising my kids, and that they were very proud of me. We've never deep dove into the abandonment. We never talk about it. We never acknowledge it. And we never correct the facade that we were raised by that parent. They were around for the beginning, but they weren't around for most of the childhood. And when I say most, I mean like when your mind is being made up and you're making the stupid fucking decisions and you love getting high so that you don't have to deal with that fucking bullshit. You could just take your mind off of it. And that's exactly why I got high every day for fucking years. Because I don't want to think about that shit no more. And that doesn't work. It works at first. It works sometimes. But you can't run away from that shit. And that's part of the reason why I am so passionate about processing. Process. Because if you don't process, then what you experienced, how you dealt with it, the defense mechanisms that you erected to handle it, they all become a part of you. And all defense mechanisms are designed for self-protection, and they're all toxic. They're all toxic. Displacement, there's a list, go ahead and look it up. Defense mechanisms are toxic. And so here I am operating in my defense mechanisms for 35, 37, what, I don't even know how many fucking years. And in the last 2.5, I've challenged ferociously all of it. What are my defense mechanisms? How do I tear them down? I was taught to lie, manipulate, and cheat. I was even taught how to steal too. But I got arrested. I had a reputation of being a bad kid. Most of my family on one parent's side, they I can't even imagine what the fuck they think of me, but they won't even, most of them won't even talk to me, since I was like fucking 12 years old. And what I realized was that I developed the ability to forgive my parents without actually dealing with any of it. And I legitimately feel okay about it. There's one other person that I have to do that with. And I don't really want to do that. I want to I want to clear it all out. I want to throw everything on the fucking table. But that's not an option. And so when my mind gets overwhelmed with shit like, my daughter's diagnosis and these heavy songs, like that song was basically speaking to me, saying, you'll never be forgiven for that. You'll never get the people who have made my life very fucking difficult will never be held accountable for all of the bullshit that they did and said. They'll never be held accountable for the things that they did in order to literally take everything away from me. And sometimes I'm super angry about it and I want to frog stomp a motherfucker. And sometimes I'm super sad about it and I go to a dark place. And right now, after 2 years here, I'm finally at a place where I can get through the days without that being my experience, the powerful negative emotions. And tonight, it's a little harder for me. And so I figure, what better way to earn some trust with the people that are hearing what I have to say than for them to see me at my most difficult moments. Because I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm just a fucking really, really deep thinker and a great fucking researcher. If I want to know something, I dig in and I find that information, and then I decide whether or not I agree with it, what I think about it, and then I read other shit to find out what they say, and then I find my own opinion and I find my own thing. I looked for reinterpretation. Reinterpretation's mine. I don't see reinterpretation out there in the context that we talk about it in Power and Control. The principle of losing the voice is something that I don't see out there, but it's something we've if you've been a victim of abuse, you've experienced. You know damn well what the fuck I'm talking about when I say you had your voice taken away. Because using your voice just made the situation worse. And that's part of my thing. I can tell you literally thousands of times where I had asked, how are you feeling? What's going on? Are you okay? Is everything okay? What can I do for you? Whatever. And a couple of hundred times where I was the opposite. And those couple of hundred mean that the thousands don't fucking matter. And that's a hard motherfucking pill to swallow when deep down, not even that deep down, I think I'm a pretty fucking good dude. And my accusers admit that I'm a pretty fucking good dude. Not to court. Not to the police. But to the people in our lives. So all that shit is just that Fire Away song. Go ahead and tell me your truth. Go ahead and tell me what you really fucking think. And yeah, it's gonna hurt, and yeah, it's gonna stab, and yeah, it's gonna wound, and yeah, it's gonna fuck me up. But I can handle it. There's nothing I haven't overcome. Ever. This will be no different. Just a little harder. So this is how my mind works when I can't process and find relief. I acknowledge the shit that's dominant to my mind. And you got a little bit of everything. And at the end of the night, I do my best, watch some TV or something, and then when I feel like my eyes will close and stay that way, I'll turn off the TV and I'll put on a podcast and I'll be out in a couple of minutes. Tonight, I didn't really feel like I had the ability to vent, and I really felt like that was the thing that was going to help me. And I've said a lot more than I really wanted to here, and I don't know if I'm going to put this up or not. However, there's a lot of people feeling things that I'm feeling. There's a lot of people struggling with things that I'm struggling with. Not the same thing, but the emotional and the mind fuck and all that stuff. It's one thing I love about Twitter is you see a bunch of broken people that just want to be built up. They want to know that they matter to the fucking world. And I get to find those people and encourage them a little bit. And these videos are to help people to avoid the things that have happened to me and my family. To help people who are in abusive dynamics, who are hurting, and some people need to get out of their situation, and that's why there's a video that's you need to get a link for it from me to see it, but there is a video for victims of abuse, and a little bit of an idea of what will happen when or if you decide to take action to leave or to confront your abuser. And there's another video, I actually deleted it. I'm gonna make a new one, but that will also be a private one, and that will be addressing abusers. That will be addressing people who have been called out for their behavior. And as somebody who has been called out for their behavior, I can identify and relate and understand, and hopefully help. To me, the hard road, the difficult shit, to me, that's worth it if it helps somebody else. I'm just that kind of fucking person. And that's something I hope that I can do for you guys. And I don't know what the takeaway from this will be. I'm sure it's going to be different for everybody. Maybe you'll think, oh my God, this guy is fucked up. And then maybe you'll think, well, you know what, I can identify with that. I get where he's coming from. And hopefully that will encourage you to face yourself also, like I am. And it's not for the weary, it's not for the weak of heart. It's worth the fucking journey, because with the exception of one person, everybody that's in my life loves the fuck out of me, thinks the world of me, and I love that. I love being valuable to people. And that's it. That's what I've got. I hope you have a great night.